In this Back to Basics video, I'm going to show you a bit about the techniques needed to move quickly and cleanly between your basic open chords. So 3 chords I'm going to use as an example in this video are D, A, and G. So there are a couple of things to look at. One is the movements you need to get from one chord to the other. So we look at the similarities. Are there any fingers that can stay on the same frets or the same strings or whatever we need to do. So let's take your D to your A. So look at the notes we've got in a D. We've got a 2, a 3 and a 2. And then look at the notes we've got in an A. We've got a 2, 2, 2. So from a D to an A, if you look, we can keep these 2 2s with the same fingers on the same fret. All we need to do is shift them across so they're on your middle 2 strings now. So instead of being top string and 3rd string, keep them together but move them to 3rd and 4th string. And then your other note we've got is this 3, which to go from a D to an A, all it needs to do is stay on the same string, same finger, and just slide back to that 2nd fret. So 2 movements we need from a D to an A. So these 2 move across and that one slides back to join it. And that's your first chord change. Then the next one we're going to look at is your A to your G. So this one's a little bit of a bigger movement, but again we still have some similarities, so it makes it a little bit easier. This finger can stay on the 2nd fret, it just needs to move across onto your 5th string. This 3rd finger on your 2nd string that we moved back to your 2nd fret can just move back up to your 3rd fret. Then your middle finger needs to jump from 2nd fret there to 3rd fret there, so that's quite a big movement. That's one just practice separately. And then we add on your little finger to your 3rd fret top string. So let's look at that again. We have 1 movement, slide that one back up, move that one across, and little finger gets added on. So 4 steps to that one, which is a little bit harder. 1, 2, 3, 4. Than your D to your A, which is just 2 steps. But the principle is still the same. We've saved a bit of time. We can use the same fingers, and then we just add in some on. And then G to D, same thing again. We have little finger can come off. We don't need that note anymore. This is your big movement here. So your middle finger can go from your 3rd fret on your bottom string to the 2nd fret on your top string, like a diagonal movement. This finger stays exactly where it is. No movement needed for that one, so that's quite easy. And then all we've got left is this 1st finger. 1, 2. Same fret, 2nd fret, just moves across onto your 3rd string. So from G to D, we have 1, 2, 3 moves. So that's your first part, is just looking at where you need to move and the relationships between the chords to make them quick and easy. And then the other half of what we need to do is to be able to get all those movements as one movement. So all those steps, so from D to A, instead of going 1, 2, strum, and A to G, 1, 2, 3, 4, strum, we need to be able to do both of those movements together. So that will just come with a lot of practice, really. But there are a couple of things that we can try and do to help get your fingers used to moving to those chord shapes. So the first one is, as you play a chord, G for example, if you take your hand off the neck but keep it in the shape of a G, and then put it back on the neck again, and just see how far your fingers have moved. Because what's natural to happen is, Because what naturally happens, or tends to happen, is as you take your hand off, your fingers just relax a bit and spread out, or they tighten up a bit and just come together. So when you put it back on, you've not got the same chord shape anymore. So that's just a bit of something to practice. Try it with all your chords. Try it with a D, lifting your hand off and then putting it back on and trying to get it bang on how it was before so your fingers don't spread out. And another way we can try and do that, same sort of thing, is to take your hand away from the neck and then put your fingers in what you feel is the shape of the chord. So G, and then put it on the neck and see how close you are to the actual shape. That's quite a good one to do, because that means as you're coming towards the neck to play a chord, you can start folding your fingers into the shape. So by the time you're there, you've got your chord shape, instead of having to think 1, 2, 3, 4, because that takes 3 times as long as. So hand away from the neck, make your chord shape, come towards the neck, land on the chord, hand away, another chord D, hand away towards. And eventually that becomes quite a natural, smooth movement, and you won't need a lot of thought, or any thought at all, to get those chord shapes on. So that's your 2 parts to changing between chords. Number 1, look at the relationships between the notes. How can you get there quickly and easily without having to fully rebuild the chord? Small movements. And the other one is learning to do that in a single movement, as opposed to building it up in steps. And there we go. Happy practicing.